comfortable? I know it's kind of crowded in here right now. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tim Finch. I'm the Director of U.S. Sales Operations for Sage. And I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the improvements that we're making and are planning to make down the road in our operations department to support both the sales and the partners. Kind of before I do that, I want to take a little bit of a step back and walk you through, tell you a little bit about myself. Before I got to Sage, and since I've been at Sage, and kind of why I'm here right now. So I've been in sales for a while. I won't date myself, but I built, in my past life, I worked as a sales manager, sales leader, building field sales teams and building inside sales teams and call centers and things like that. So I've been at Sage for 6.5 years, and I came on as an inside sales manager for the inbound sales team for Sage 50. I've always had a little bit of an operational component to my management style, so I've used that to kind of help my sales teams. And then I got an opportunity probably about 4 years ago, thanks to this guy right here, Chris Smith. He pulled me in operations, and I managed the Sage 50 US sales team, or Sage 50 US operations team. And I started there, and then I took that opportunity really to kind of continue to improve on that part of my that side of my career, and to kind of give myself a bigger footprint within Sage. And last year, around April, which is about a year ago, I was given an additional opportunity to, as many of you know, they made the decision to transition operations from a lot of the operations team from Irvine and St. Pete to the Lawrenceville campus. So I was given the opportunity to have all that fun. Around the same time, I think we started the beginning process of rolling out C-line subscriptions for Stage 100 and 300, as well as payroll subscriptions. So those were just extra layers of fun that they were able to provide me as we went through this transition. Thanks for laughing, you can see that. So there was a lot of work that went through that. As you know, we had a very seasoned and well-trained team, both in Irvine and in St. Pete, that we had to try and get all that information and knowledge from that location into our Lawrenceville campus. So there was tons of training that needed to be done with that group to our new group, as we hired some 40-something employees in our Lawrenceville campus. So there was tons of work that we kind of went through to get there. There's still tons of work that we're going through. Along the way, we brought on some additional operational leaders, and I looked for went through a lot of candidates, but looked for those candidates that had some, Six Sigma black belts, as well as some project management experience along the way. So we brought in really good talent to be able to do that. But our initial goal as we went through this process was really just to mimic what was already in place. We're not trying to make any changes, trying to do anything different. It's just really trying to mimic what has already been done, what's already been in place as we go through this process. There's enough knowledge transferring and processes to understand and kind of deal with as we went through that. So their task was just learn it, document it, and just replicate what they've already done. So we went through a ton of that, and we're still going through some of that now as we speak. But we're getting to the point where we're trying to start looking at all these things and using these Six Sigma black belts and all this experience that we have with the new leadership team to look for opportunities to make improvements that allow us to manage our business better, deliver a better experience, deliver better service levels and things like that, and then manage our teams that provide more efficiencies and automate certain things that are very manual. And that's one of the things that we still challenged with right now, is really getting through that. A big part of what I'll talk about today is around C-line, and some of the improvements we made around C-line, because that's where a lot of the challenges are. As the partners, you guys will continue to drive C-line volume to our business. We have, believe it or not, we have a pretty clunky process when it comes to that behind the scenes. When it rolls out, we make it seem like it's going to be pretty easy, but there are a lot of steps, manual steps, and a lot of manual process that we have to do to try and make it look like it's automated. It is really not. And I know we made a lot of missteps along the way. We still have things that we're working through to try and make it even better for you guys as well as for the sales teams, to make it as smooth as possible. So we have a lot of work to do there. We recognize that. Some of the things that I want to go through today are just kind of the beginning parts of what we're trying to do to try and improve the overall process, to simplify things and make it easier for you guys to do business with Sage. Make sense? Good. Okay. All right. Let's see this. Big button goes forward. All right. I think I got this. Go ahead. So for me, as a salesperson, as managing salespeople, I've always tried to keep things simple. The simpler you make it, the better adherence that you get to it, and the easier it is for them to understand and work with it. So our goal, at the end of the day, through my groups, through my teams, is just trying to drive simplicity across the organization. And so that's ultimately kind of what we're seeing here. Ideally, for you guys, it's making it easier to do business with Sage. Kind of knowing where your orders are, what the status is, you know, where's the quote, where's this, where's that, who do I talk to for this, who do I talk to for that. Really just trying to simplify the process across the board. So right now, for the teams that I manage within the U.S., these are the product lines that are in scope over here. So a lot of what we'll see today is really tied to trying to support these businesses here. So one of the, we've got about 4 things that we'll talk through here. And one of the first things that we implemented was Smartsheet. This is something I think a lot of businesses are starting to use, but it's a web-based kind of Excel form that you can log information on. Multiple people can work in it at the same time. One of the things that we've used it for is really is for order forms. So what we're hoping to be able to do with this is make it easier for you guys to access this request form through the portal. You go into the partner portal, log into that. You will see, and I'll kind of show you what it looks like when you get in there, but you can log in your order request. It'll write directly to our smart sheet for these orders. And we have what we call a point guard. Have a little bit of an athletic background, a little bit. So that's the reference. We have a point guard that's kind of directing traffic. So as a request come in, they make sure we have what we need for the order and kind of direct it to make sure that the person gets assigned to it to move it through the system and help us manage it a little better. What this does for us is one of the things that we haven't been able to do with the inboxes that we have. We have, I think, anywhere from 50 to 3,000. It's another joke. Inboxes that we manage, but we have a lot. Right? It's tough for me as a manager. I'm trying to manage, make sure things get done or didn't get done. We have inboxes and sub inboxes, those sub inboxes. So we can't really manage that if it didn't get done when it was supposed to get done. So we're trying to drive service level to improve that experience. So this gives us the ability to pull reporting each day to say, all right, where are these orders? How many are open? How many are closed? Is it within service level, outside of service level? We can have those conversations with our colleagues and make sure that they're delivering the experience that we need to. And then we can build out KPIs for our team to be able to manage them and manage their performance. So obviously it gives us visibility, it gives you visibility into this as well as us, so that we can manage it correctly and drive the results that we're looking to do. And that's kind of what I speak to here is it's really trying to drive these things down here, give us reporting, which we don't do right now through Outlook, and drive service level, deliver a better experience. So the other thing that came up was, I think most people, when we talk about, we bring this up, we have process improvement meetings, and we talk about how we get order requests and payment authorization forms, and we mentioned the word fax. That's the same response. What?
No.
Who has a fax machine? There's not a lot of people that do. But we still have, that as an option. And the challenge we have, while we have to use fax, is we have to be PCI compliant when we receive credit card information. And that was the solution that was provided originally for us through our NAIT team. So we're moving away from that and moving to coming into the 2000s with DocuSign. And obviously you can do this from any device. No more faxing, see that's really awesome, no faxing. And it's more secure than paper. So it's a lot easier for us, it's actually pretty cool. It's really, the one challenge we have right now, we are given a limited amount of licenses that we're working through. So we have some of them within the operations team, some of them within the sales teams. And we're trying to use those and manage those the best we can. We're going to get more of them. And when we do, we'll just kind of continue to spread it out. But this is a much easier way, much cleaner way to be able to get that information from customers when we're moving customers to C-Line, because we know that not everyone still has a fax machine. The other really cool tool that we've, it's kind of rolled out, this is internal right now. but it's the pricing tool for Sage 100C and 300C migrations. So what it allows us to do is with on-plan customers, we're able to put in their customer ID, and then it tells us what the cost of that migration will be for the customer. So I know this is, when you go through the normal process to be able to do this, it can be very cumbersome if you ever try to do a migration quote. You get all kind of confused and twisted around. This makes it a lot easier for us. The first installation is an internal tool for us that we're using. In my next call over, we're trying to take this to level 2 and build in some additional functionality to the tool, as well as getting it onto the partner portal, which will allow you guys to be able to price these deals out yourselves without having to go through operations to do these things. So I know for perpetual and things like that, a lot of the partners are able to do that themselves. This will give you the ability to be able to do that using this pricing tool as well. I have a couple of them you can see. And I know there's a gap right now for customers that have moved to C-Line, is being able to provide the renewal pricing for your customers. We've worked out the system limitations we've had there just last week, and have gotten reporting in place for that. We're going to start sending out notifications to customers, letting them know what the price of their C-Line renewal will be. We'll also provide, from a reporting standpoint, I know we send out partner renewal reports, adding that information in there so you guys will have visibility into the C-Line renewals for your customers as well. So that's all relatively new, but that's a pretty big gap that we want to make sure our customers know what the renewal amounts will be. And we've finally got to the point where we're able to do that. We're also have a project in place to have it systematically done within our billing engine, so they'll get notifications and they'll be able to get this reporting without the manual steps that we need to use today. The other big improvements we're working on is around the tier management program that we have to do. Obviously, Scott has some improvements that they're changing how the tier program, but getting these things in our SAP system so that they happen systematically versus a lot of the manual interaction we have to do. For those of you that know Linda Pressel, or work with Linda Pressel, have had to deal with Linda Pressel, that's the majority of her work, is trying to make sure that the tier program works correctly and trying to solve for those problems. So we have a group of about 17 tickets and situations tied to C-Line and mid-market type functionality within our system that we have prioritized with our IT team, and we work each week to kind of drive those and get those implementations in place to help streamline and improve the processes surrounding the order entry and order fulfillment. And we're going to continue to work through that. Once they get those 17 knocked out, we got another 17 lined up as well. So our goal is to get this as simplified and as automated as possible, so that the behind the scenes piece that you guys have to get involved with to try and manage it and make sure things are happening the right way, those things get tightened up and it becomes more of a seamless process for you as well as for us.
Is there a timeline for this?
For what
you're talking about, the timeline? Do you have a timeline?
over here?
Yeah.
I would, I don't have one right now. This is in place right here. I don't have a timeline for either of these, but that's something that we're working on to try and drive. Our goal was to try and get a lot of this stuff in by Q3, so it's just working with our NAIT team from a prioritization standpoint to be able to deliver that. The challenge we have with it in moving them is they're also responsible for a lot of the product launches, price increases, things like that. So it's trying to get it on their priority and keep pushing it and leaning on it and driving it. But it's hard to get to say. I want it as soon as possible, and that's the kind of way I approach it. So this is the order and quote request piece that we have on the portal. We've done a pilot or a beta team that we worked on, and essentially once you log into the portal, you will see this cool little area down here. We are doing order and quote requests right now through the portal. We're kind of looking at that whole process. A lot of we may just kind of focus on the order piece, but this will kind of target if you have order requests. You kind of, for these product lines, you just hit the button and you'll get this form over here where you kind of fill it out, you can attach information if you wanted to, or put any notes that you want. This information over here, this is the smart sheet. We'll receive that once you hit submit. Larry and team will get that. Our point guard will take a look at it, make sure we have everything that we need, and get it to the right person to start working on. And it's then you can see there's some, not everyone has a button, but then some over down here. These are all tagged to smart sheet. Yeah. Any questions on that?
This time last year, we were hearing that this portal was gonna be kind of done away with, and the one that Sage Live and the other things are on, we were gonna migrate over to that one.
I think there's, from what I understand, I haven't been involved in it, but I know there's a lot of that work is still in place. So that could happen. It's probably will happen. We'll still go with it to make sure. I mean, there are some bigger projects we have. I mean, we're in huge global projects right now as well, and there's opportunity for us looking at Salesforce.com as far as our future state. So there may be other opportunities to make this as more streamlined and more simplified as we go through. Because right now it's just going to Smartsheet. Ideally, we'd like it so you put a quote in, or you accept or approve the quote. It goes into the order entry system, fulfills, and makes it that much simpler. So we want to push all those types of things to kind of drive that. Good question.
Can't read the blank column. Does that include the customer, or you have pricing by customer? That form?
Yeah, you put in basically the customer information, and then we will, for the quote, and we'll send it back to you with that information. The quote. Yep. We'll use it, if it's a quote request in that situation, we would use the pricing tool typically for like 100 and 300 to get the pricing and then send the quote out back to you that way. Yes, ma'am.
What about renewals?
Keep going.
You know, you wanna put an order in for renewal?
Yep. These, as far as the renewal orders, most of you're talking about for C-Line, or you're talking about a perpetual?
Yeah, perpetual.
The perpetual orders right now are handled through the sales team.
Right.
So those requests don't go through our particular team for that. So we still work through sales for it.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
That would be probably the most helpful thing you guys could do, is say, business care renewals go here, here's your team for that. New orders go here, here's your team for that. Because that's the biggest problem we have, is chasing down the right freaking person to get the order done.
I voted.
You got it? Okay. Good point.
And also because there's been so much turnover, the person we talked to yesterday probably isn't there.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I know with what Scott is doing to restructure that team, the TSMs are going to be play a big part in that to help manage that, be your point of contact for tracking down orders, tracking down quotes. That'd be your
But,
point
you know,
person.
if on Sage Cell or somewhere, there was just a PDF that you guys could update every day or however often was needed. You know, that we just could go pull up and say, what's today's roadmap?
Every
Who
day.
we talked to today?
Yes.
That would be helpful. Because
Yes.
that's honestly, I end up running most of my stuff up to my regional sales manager, because I have no idea who to talk to.
Gotcha. Okay. Does everyone know Larry Sunderland? Have they met Larry? Have you heard his name?
Larry, stand up.
Come on, Larry, stand up. Oh, Larry, please stand up. Well, he manages the NCA sales development team, and then we have Corey Carmer who manages the renewal team. But that's a big part of kind of what they do. I know we gave Larry the task of putting together a race chart for who was responsible for it. There's so many lines and crisscrosses. It's just more reason why we have to simplify things and make it easier for you. So to your point, we got a note of that. We'll talk to Scott too. I think that's a lot of the stuff will help simplify itself by having getting the TSMs in their role and kind of getting seasoned at what they're doing too. So good point. Any other questions? Ashley, I see you talking about it. So this is just simply kind of what the process is for this, and what we want to get to, but also, I think I already spoke to this, but kind of just simply log into the portal, put in your selected order request form that you want, fill it out, obviously make sure that it's complete, hit submit. The sales ops will validate the order request, and if we have everything that we need, we'll go ahead and process the order, and our goal is 24 to 48 hours. One of the things we want to try and drive is, as we make more and more improvements, is improving on the service level, the timeline that is, going from 48 to 36, 36 to 24, and beyond, trying to get as good as possible we can as turning these things around. So the more automation that we get in place, the more IT improvements that they put in for us to simplify the process, the much faster we can turn these things around. And we want to be able to use Smartsheet to help manage it, to make sure it's happening on a much more consistent basis. For DocuSign, we have this couple of templates that we have in place to do this. So we have the 100C quotes, the 300C quotes, and the payment authorization form already kind of loaded up that we can use. I believe Larry created a request form as well. I think we need to get that on the portal. If you have a customer that you want to go ahead, rather than going through the whole faxing process, you can kind of request, hey, can you send this, can you use DocuSign to get these information for us? And we'll do that and track it and manage it through Smartsheet. But it's pretty easy for us to do. We just kind of put everything in, kind of put the email addresses in here that we need, attach either the quote or the order form and the payment authorization, and then when they sign it, it's pretty easy for them to do, and it's automated versus them having to find the fax machine, take a picture of it, scan it, and send it in. Has anyone used DocuSign before? It's pretty easy. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So it's a cool tool, and it does integrate with Smartsheet, so we're working on being able to do that as well. But there are some security things that we have to do because of the PCI compliance case. Any questions with this? And for the pricing tool, right now, Larry's team it uses it a little bit, but most of it because it's for on-plan customers in its current state. The renewal team is the one that uses this the most. Our goal with this is to kind of continue to expand our ability to use it, to be able to solve for these scenarios here, off-plan customers and win-back customers, any sort of add-on pricing, migration pricing, and renewal pricing. Have that integrated into the pricing tool itself, and also being able to deliver it into the portal. So whatever portal we have, so that you guys have access to it, you can put in your scenario, get the pricing that way. So there's a lot of work there that we have to do, and again, it's us working with, partnering with our EIT team to be able to deliver on those enhancements. Any questions on that? Again, that's kind of working with NAIT. I don't have a date for this. My goal is hopefully by the end of our fiscal year, so by the end of Q4, but it's trying to get that through there. So, good question. Yes, ma'am?
This may not be your area, but for Sage Alerts and some of the ancillary things that didn't go over to the C line that are now a separate renewal, is there any plan to make them become subscription-based?
It's not my area, but we've had several situations like that with multiple plans and things like that. So we've kind of bubbled up to the product manager to kind of go through that process and look for ways to simplify versus having 2 or 3 different plans, whereas in the past you just had one. We want to try and simplify that process altogether. But as of right now, I don't have an answer for you. Anyone else? I think I'm close to the end. Okay. Just needs to be that. All right, so I will cautiously open the floor up for questions. I know operations is a fun topic, but I just want to say, as far as myself and my team, we have a great team and that works really, really hard. Larry, Corey, we have other guys, Omar on the Cash Ops team, Jeff Hackney on the small biz team that work really hard to try and continue to improve and refine what we're doing to try to deliver a better experience to our sales colleagues, to our partner channel, to our end customers. I mean, we're all connected and trying to work through this thing. And for me personally, it's really certain things process-wise we're still trying to get better at. The one thing that I want to make sure of is if anything is outside of service level, the 24, 48-hour time, you can email me directly, Larry or Corey or manager. that's the one thing we have to do well is communicate and deliver a better experience in response to that. Even though we may not have an answer, it may not get done, we still need to be able to communicate that to you guys so you have some idea of where it's at. And so I always tell Larry to chase the tiger, don't let the tiger chase you. So that's really kind of, any of those types of things, please feel free to reach out to us. If we don't know about it, we need to. So it's important. And hopefully as we continue and use Smartsheet and get there, we're going to know that before you do, so you'll have less than that to deal with. Go ahead.
So this probably isn't your area, but, so point me where I need to go.
Yes, sir.
You know, our biggest frustration on the C line has been getting our commissions. And I have somebody that now spends 4 hours of her day tracking down commissions on stuff that you guys may or may not have billed the customer for.
Mhm.
Right? What's being done to improve that process?
It's part of us, right? Yeah.
Finally, I found the right person.
Well, it's linked to your renewal process, once we get that fixed.
Yeah, I think a lot of the challenge we face now, I don't want to bore you with a lot of details, but we have 2 systems that have to communicate with each other, and parts of that are manual. So there's certain situations where it could be somebody missed a step along the way. Other situations could be where the systems, they didn't work the way we want them to. So what we do now, I work with Larry, I work with Linda Pressel here, we just, through reporting, we try and pull reports, try and isolate those situations, try to get them resolved as we come up.
I mean, it's
So-
one thing if we don't get a $20 payroll to your commission, but we've had
You got a payroll?
But we've had very large C-line annual renewals that our commission was $4,000 on that we didn't get until we asked for it 60 days later. And
Yeah.
that's when the answer came, oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, there are, I would say, we've been doing this report, what, 2.5 months now? About that. There was, I want to say, December through February, there was gaps when certain things were happening. So that's what we kind of, it just flared up, so we were trying to go through that process to use reporting to solve for those types of things. So that's, I'm not saying that our reporting is perfect, we just try to use that to get there, and obviously your feedback, we don't want that situation to happen. One of the things we're working on, because a lot of it is kind of with NAIT to kind of make certain improvements to how these things are processed and how we have it set up systematically. So those, out of the 17 prioritized items we have, I think like 7 or 8 of them are around commissions and tier to help simplify that process. So,
I mean, I'm okay as long as you guys know about it and you're working on it. But, you know, the impression is, because you're forcing the customer to pay direct to you, this is just another way you're trying to cut us out of the middle.
Yeah.
And also out of the money.
well, I would say that's not what we're trying to do. What will make it probably a little bit easier is we'll be able to provide, now that we have the reporting piece component, provide you a list of not only your perpetual renewals, but also your C-line renewals and the amounts that we expect them to renew at, so you can have an idea of what to expect there. So I know right now that hasn't been visible, and we're kind of, I think May and June, or when it really starts to move in the right direction, you should be able to see that in the reports to have an idea of what it should be. And then we'll have the same thing to kind of make sure and vet out that things are happening the way they need to. So getting this reporting is important for us. Having this renewal process in place is super important for us, so that we can help manage that part of it as well, make sure things are working the way they should be. And I know what I don't want is you having to spend hours upon hours tracking these things, which I know is happening, and that's why it's still important to us, because it's obviously important to you. And being a salesperson, I know when it comes to commissions, I know what that means.
And so we're.
Those are fighting words.
On the sales side, we wanna know that reporting, but to your point, we're reconciling on the back end too, our
Yep.
tier, our commissions, all that. So like what actually happened too is also.
And, yes, ma'am.
And to add to that, it's also frustrating for our customers. They want to work directly with their partners, get those invoices, talk to them about the renewals. A lot of them have questions. They come to us and rely on, serving that. So without knowing what's going on and working with Sage as we work with the partners with renewals, it's been difficult.
Well, I The challenge we've had too, not only have you not had the visibility, we haven't had it on our side to be able to help walk you guys through that. So now that we have that, we want to try and get that out and get a consistent cadence to when you will get that information sooner rather than later, so you can have those conversations early and let them know.
So we can keep renewing, get those renewals in. If not, if you guys just send them out, we don't know or what's going on.
Exactly, I agree
We have to
100%.
do these Windex.
Exactly, it makes perfect sense. Yes, ma'am?
I've had two customers recently, and this may not be your department, but I've had two customers who are on monthly payment plans who have not been notified from Sage that their plan is up for renewal, and they only know they renewed because their next payment taken out of their account was bigger than the last one. And they are upset because they think it's just courteous to say your plan is up for renewal, your amounts have gone up. Please expect this new amount to be sold out.
I agree. No, if, for that, that's, if I can get some information on, for that to look into it, we could definitely check into that. We are working to have an automated, notification system put in to our billing engine so that it will do that systematically. Right now, we're having to pull a report out with those customers, get the price, to send it out manually. We're actually, our first batch of those notifications will go out, I believe tomorrow, or maybe today or tomorrow. For the annual customers, we have to work on it for the monthly customers as well.
Well, one of those might be because of this changeover in system, because the person called Sage and says, why didn't I get notified? And whoever she was talking to said, well, this is where it was sent, and the email address, the name of the company, everything was wrong. And she was told it was her responsibility to notify Sage, when she never, when they just, an email address came up out of the hat, so I'm hoping that that's just a
Gotcha.
changeover.
You got that one too?
That's back to the point where the partners need to be involved because we know that they've, changed or there needs to be updated.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Aren't you happy to be the complaint department?
We love it.
Just
Deb, you
some
want me to take it?
clarification for me. Is, I have a lot of payroll customers, so now they're on this plan for ERP with this expiration date, and now they have payroll with a different expiration date. Why, I was hoping that you guys would sync those up when they signed up for payroll. Is there some reason for not syncing them up?
I don't know, was there a reason we didn't sync them up? I think we've gotten some feedback on that, and we had a meeting yesterday about it to try and look at what's, kind of pull the data together, sorry, what's it look like, and try to figure out how do we sync it up. Because I know even if they move to C-Line and they have payroll, that's two separate subscriptions, we want to be able to sync them up. Even if we can't get them on one invoice, at least get them on the same day so that it happens like that. So that was not we haven't done that consistently up to this point, so it's going to be able to kind of look at that and see what we can do to sync it up and kind of how we go about making that happen. But it's come up several times.
Can we help with that process?
Absolutely.
Ah.
Oh, I thought you had the answer to that. No, I think, huh?
So what mentioned is more
I
future.
can tell
That's
you
it.
what's gonna happen is with these two expiration dates, my customers are gonna say, I paid this. And when the payroll comes in, they're gonna say, this is already paid, and we're gonna ignore it.
Yeah, that's happened. So what we need on our side, we have to look at the plans, both the C-Line plan, any payroll plan, any plan for third-party add-ons for each customer, and look to be able to sync those up from a date standpoint. So it came up yesterday, so we haven't had a chance to really go through that part of the process, but that's something that we have to look at to say, okay, here's what it looks like, here's the work that we have to do to get the plan synced up. Here's what the impact is, and we gotta obviously let customers know, let the partners know, so that we can manage that way. So we have to assess the work that needs to go into it. From that point, it's really gonna be a communication plan on our part to you guys. And as far as you helping us, it's just kind of passing that communication on, letting them know we're gonna work on that and try to get that tightened up.
Whatever we can do.
Appreciate it. What was your name, sir?
Mark.
Mark, okay.
So,
Mark from.
unrelated question, didn't really address the question about TIP.
Here?
your, you know, Fusion or SAP, maybe you should use Sage for your own products, but,
So with the simplifications to the tier program that Scott Inman announced 2 weeks ago, the tier dashboard will be revised, we're hoping by the 1st of July. And it will simplify what you're trying to reconcile. So it won't help with the past, because what's in there from the past we can't change. But moving forward, you'll be reconciling against your current FY year. So when we give you a tier statement after the new dashboard's done, it will be reflective of FY17 data. And with that change, all of the partners that had manual tier statements, which you had because of adjustments that were made historically, those will go away because we won't be looking at the historical data anymore. We'll be looking at FY17 data. So.
can we get a heads up before that happens, because I'm just gonna wanna make a snapshot of what I got, just to be sure that the new version doesn't make stuff that was there go away.
Sure.
Now I have no idea.
Yeah, we'll be sure to make that announcement before we make the changeover.
That'd be good.
Anybody else want to talk to Linda? Go right ahead.
So, we have a customer that's on 100C. They did the migration order because they want to go to advanced, all of that. Then we got notification 3 months later that Sage decided to give them a free month. Who makes those decisions, and when are we kept in the loop on that?
I don't know. I'd have to look at the account and get a situation to kind of give you a true assessment on it. Do you have the customer information?
Well, I can get it for you.
If you have, we can do that, and we can look at it.
I mean, I'm not complaining that you did that for them. It was just, again, because we were going back saying, well, we're missing the commission for this month. And the answer was, well, they didn't pay for that month. We gave it to them for free. And I'm like, well, shouldn't we as the partner been involved in some of that discussion?
No. Go
So,
ahead.
I'm Chris Smith. I am our director of inside sales for Sage 100, 300, all our mid-market products. And there's a couple different things. One is, I think you had mentioned, we've had turnover inside of the team for Sage 100 and some of the other teams too. And we have been preaching this year, and I've said this, I've been on a couple calls with some of you, and we've been preaching that anybody that's handling renewals, you should be working very closely with your partner, because there's really 3 different tracks that we want everyone to work on. If the partner has the relationship with the customer, we want to back out of it, because we know that you guys have the most success in the renewal, and we don't want to duplicate efforts on that, and it causes confusion from the customer, because what I've heard is, hey, Sage, that's a platform that our customers use. We have the relationship, so when you send them a bill, they come back to us and say, why is Sage sending this? And I understand that. And so we do have some partners, though, on the other end who they love that we have account managers that can do the renewal work for them. That's a benefit to their business. But in there, all we need to do is make sure that our communication is in sync with, hey, we're working on these renewals. We've heard from partners that say, hey, if you will call us, we'll tell you who will migrate to C. Like, you don't have to go and do the guesswork on that. And so what I can tell you is we should be talking to you about that. We should be closing the loop on it. And I love hearing this feedback, because it just gives me more ammo back to my team to say, look, I know you guys are nodding your heads to us and saying you're doing this, but I just came back from Summit, and this is across the board. We're not doing that. And so that's on, I can say that's on my team, and we will improve on that.
This was not a renewal.
Okay.
They had already been on 100C 3 months on
Yeah.
the monthly payment plan. We didn't get a January commission because they signed off in September.
Mhm.
And then the answer was, well, we gave them January for free.
So typically, it's going to come either through your territory manager, or on the renewal side, it would come through my account managers that would ultimately make that decision. Now, sometimes we work with the customer directly, and we may have to make a decision on doing that. It's very rare because we don't want to push out their plan dates at all. But if we do, we should come back to you and let you know, just as a courtesy. I mean, I think that's where those decisions are made, but all the time, I'm always pushing, go back to our channel partners and make sure that we're working with them. Whether it's on, I think somebody was mentioning about the monthly billing. So some of you may know that we have customers that are on auto pay, and if they don't contact Sage within 30 days of their annual renewal, it says on the form that they signed a year ago or 3 years ago that they're liable for the next year. And so, we've had times where the customers have fought against that, and I always say go back to the partner. Let's talk to the partner, because the partner may have something in there that we may need to bend the rules one time, or we may need to hold tight because the partner gives us direction. So what I would love you to walk away with is we are very pro partner. I promise you inside. You may not feel it just yet, but we continue to work on it. I promise you that. Thanks, Chris.
How you guys doing? All right, I don't have anything else that I needed to speak to. I just want to thank everybody for kind of showing up. If you have any questions or anything like that, I'll be here for another half hour or so. Please feel free to come get me and give me specifics, and we can look into those things for yours as well. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.